I'm getting more comfortable with talking on camera, so I'm going to move around the house a little bit. I'm not sure if I'm going to stay right here in front of this painting or go somewhere else. We shall see. What I want to talk about tonight is how we manage to put the worst people in charge of our lives. And it really just comes down to our own personal judgment that we don't know who we're voting for and we don't know how to judge. Well, that comes down to how well we know ourselves. And we don't know ourselves very well. That's pretty obvious. We don't suspect our dark side. We don't suspect that other people who are putting on an act are really not what they pretend to be. And anyone who presents himself to the public as someone they should support, behind the scenes, very often, what you have are money people who are interested in getting something out of that person. So that person, if he or she becomes elected, owes their votes to who put the money into their campaigns. And they can be supported in that position for as long as they obey their masters. We don't really realize that people learn to tell a story, learn to talk a line that they calculate will get them the votes. And these people very often are very talented at looking genuine, looking really concerned about these issues. I think that most of them in the American system right now are really beholden to the money and not to the people. Whose fault is that? I do believe we have some responsibility there. Um, Maybe if we had a different kind of education, maybe if we were alerted to the fact that the kind of people who generally present themselves as a candidate are looking for some way to make a living and do well, and they have a talent for talking, and they can be convincing, and we can end up having the wool pulled right over our eyes. And then we wake up later and say, what happened to that person? Why did they become corrupt? Was it the money? Frankly, it was probably there from the beginning. Even there, one thing we do know is even a basically honest person can be corrupted. There's a huge amount of pressure to get them to toe the line. So the system that we have, although it sounds good, we have the vote and we can vote people out. Well, it's an adversarial system, really, because people can present themselves as a fabrication calculated by people who know how to calculate those things, to say the right things, to have the right look, and we can actually say, that's our guy. That's the one I want. Well, 3 or 4 years down the line, we start to ask ourselves, what's going wrong? And usually we're not paying attention. Usually they are voting for things that are really against our interests, but we're not watching. We're not paying attention. And if we do, what kind of choice do we have? Who else is presenting anything that we might want? There's bad and then there's worse. And right now, there seems to be a sea change in the making, that there are so many atrocities happening, so many things that are happening to violate our interests and make our lives more difficult than they have to be. And it's been going on so long, we are starting to ask, can we have a better choice? And frankly, up till now, there have been very few who are really honest politicians who have the best interests of the populace in mind. And it has to change. It really has to. There are honest people in the world, and we can actually find them. What's interesting right now is there are people showing up who are saying, who are telling a totally different story from what we've heard. And corporate Democrats and, of course, Republicans are fighting them. That's the old guard. Well, what we are seeing is these people who actually are talking about something that has frightened Americans for generations, social democracy, is being characterized as communism, but people are not buying it. They're saying, frankly, that's something we probably need. And the fear mongers don't know what to do. They're spending fortunes to try to get us not to vote for those people, but we're doing it anyway. It looks like there will be some substantial changes if the existing administration and the people in power right now don't manage to lie us into another corner or corrupt the vote somehow. That's what Trump is trying to do, is trying to get hold of the voting rolls and say to the states who they can accept and who they have to reject. The Constitution says something else. The Constitution says states have control of that. The federal government does not. And the reason that was put into the Constitution is exactly what is happening right now. The president wants control of that. Well, I don't think it's going to happen. There are still people with rational minds in the United States who are in positions to say no. Governors, state legislatures, judges, it's going to be pretty hard for them to wrest control of the vote and prevent people who would vote against them from voting at all. I don't think it's going to happen. In any case, what we hope to see before things really explode into some kind of catastrophic event that is unimaginable, before that happens, if we can have an honest vote and let the people speak, we could see a real substantive change in the direction our country is going. And it's been going in the wrong direction for quite a while. The courts, the Supreme Court has been corrupted. Um, the US Congress has been corrupted. People at the top with power are now patently stupid ignoramuses that don't know what they're doing. And frankly, that is one of our strokes of luck. These people are incompetent. They're not only stupid, they're incompetent. Well, what we hope is luck will be on our side and we will get down to the vote and things will change and the balance of power in Congress will actually shift to people with some integrity and who will actually respond to the vote, because the vote is going to be against these criminals. I'm fully convinced. Okay, this is my political rant, which happens pretty rarely, but it's what's on my mind right now. So I'm going to sign off.